Welcome to the Eric Avisar Show. Time now to talk about the first 8 games that will be played in Friday's action of March Madness. Some great battles to look forward to. I'm going to tell you what to watch for, which teams to bet on, and how confident I am with each pick. So, starting off with Cincinnati, Iowa. This is a battle of two teams that have been heading in opposite directions. Iowa closed the regular season by losing 4 out of its last 5 games to slip down to the 10 line, while Cincinnati closed the season, I would say, with a 3-game win streak and upset Final Four contender Houston in the AAC championship game. Jaron Cumberland is a tour de force of a player. He could very well go off for maybe even 30 points in this game as the AAC Player of the Year. I really like Luka Garza's game from Iowa, but not enough to pick Iowa to win this, and Cincinnati will absolutely cover the spread here as 5.5 point favorites. Now, for Ole Miss, Oklahoma, this is a coin flip game. I would not put money on this game. I have no confidence in either team. Oklahoma had an embarrassing loss to West Virginia in the Big 12 tournament, and Ole Miss had a pretty bad loss to Alabama as well, although they were a bubble team in the SEC tournament, and Bama, of course, had plenty to play for. Breon Tyree and Terrence Davis, I think, make the difference here. I'm going to have Ole Miss squeezing this one out, but of course, I am not the most confident in that pick, to say the least. Now, Texas Tech is going to take on Northern Kentucky. The Red Raiders are a sleeper team to make a deep run in March Madness, in large part because Jarrett Culver is such a phenomenal player. I mean, he is going to be a first-round pick in the upcoming NBA draft. They've been anchored down low by St. John's transfer Tariq Owens, and Chris Beard could very well be the most underrated head coach in college basketball because he seems to just overachieve year after year, is such a thoughtful and methodical tactician. That being said, Texas Tech favored by 13.5 points. I don't think they're going to cover the spread because Drew McDonald, who averaged 19 points and 9 rebounds a game, can really shoot. Northern Kentucky's a strong 3-point shooting team, and the great equalizer in college hoops, as we've seen over the years, is the 3-point shot. So I think that's going to allow them to keep the game close, but I'm confidently picking Texas Tech to win, and fairly confident with Northern Kentucky keeping the Red Raiders from covering the spread. For Kansas State battling UC Irvine, the Wildcats received some devastating news when it was announced that Dean Wade is very likely going to miss the tournament yet again after suffering a foot injury. And it's such a shame considering what an amazing college career he's had. Meanwhile, the UC Irvine Anteaters come into the tournament very, very hot. A 16-game win streak. Max Hazard and Evan Leonard lead a very balanced attack. Meanwhile, you could say certainly that Kansas State has more talented guard play with Barry Brown and Kamau Stokes, but K-State's not the deepest team out there, so they could really be stretched out there and pushed to the edge in this one. I like UC Irvine to win this game, so pretty confidently. I even think that the Anteaters could make it to the Sweet 16. Now, in terms of Tennessee taking on Colgate, I was pretty surprised to see that the Volunteers were not made 20-point favorites here. They're favored by 17.5. Grant Williams and Admiral Schofield are two really seasoned vets who are on a mission. They're going to deliver a lot of punishment in this game. And, Colgate lost to Syracuse by 21 and to a horrendous Pittsburgh team by double digits. I don't really see Colgate keeping this one close. So pretty confident with Tennessee covering the 17.5 points. Now, in terms of the battle of the 1 versus 16 seeds, usually advise against betting on these because it's just a matter of when does the 1 seed want to rest its starters. UVA, however, is the joke that will forever keep on giving because they were the first ever 1 seed to lose to a 16 seed last year, and they're really never going to live that down. they have demons to exercise here. Gardner-Webb seems like the best 16 seed in the field, considering they beat Georgia Tech and Wake Forest during the regular season. And UVA is favored by 22.5 points. That's a lot of points to score for a team that tends to run a slow offense, although to Tony Bennett's credit, this is the best offensive team he's ever had at UVA, with so many great players like Kyle Guy, Ty Jerome, and of course, DeAndre Hunter is going to be very likely a lottery pick. So I certainly like UVA to win this game, but I'm going to unconfidently say that Gardner-Webb will keep UVA from covering that 22.5 point spread. Now, talking about Buffalo versus Arizona State. Arizona State just beat St. John's in the first 4 matchups, so betting lines have not been put up yet, but I'll tell you what I think, of course, regardless. I love the Buffalo Bulls. Nate Oates has done an absolutely amazing job. I mean, this team has it all. Size, experience, heart, intensity, consistency, chemistry, you name it. It's just, there are just very few weaknesses on this team. Of course, they have their star with CJ Massenberg, but everybody in the starting 5 is a major scoring threat, and that's what makes this team so scary. Nick Perkins is really going to get it done down low, even against the tough Zylan Cheatham, who could very well get into foul trouble in this game. Lou Dortz, the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year, looks like a one-and-done guy. I mean, I was very, very impressed with how he performed against St. John's. So I do think that he'll have another big game if he's not too tired, of course, but it's not going to be enough. Buffalo is going to win by double digits. I'm going to take Buffalo to win this game by 12 and make the Elite Eight of the tournament. Now, looking at Wisconsin versus Oregon, a 5 seed getting hosed. Well, that is Wisconsin. They're a team that already relies too heavily on one player with superstar center Ethan Happ. And this has a 12/5 upset written all over it. Wisconsin has to go out to San Jose. Much shorter trip for Oregon. They could certainly have the crowd support advantage there, although to the Badgers' credit, they have a terrific fan base that I'm sure will show out very strongly. But even the odds makers knew that Wisconsin is in for a battle here because they are only 2-point favorites. Oregon point guard Peyton Pritchard has caught fire at the perfect time of year, and Francis Okoro is capable of slowing down Happ. So I'm going to take the Ducks to win this game here, one of my 3 12/5 upsets. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and best of luck filling out your bracket.